recording's on.
Let us know when we're live.
All right, we're on.
Hey everybody. Okay, so here we are. I'm Melanie Banayat with Wingspace, and this is Pam Garland and Josh Bowen, and we are here to talk about a new program that we've got going on here. It's called BOOST. It's a Small Business Accelerator program, and we are here because we want to do business. We are talking about business, and we're just going to have a conversation about this. And if you guys have questions, please post your questions in the comments, and hopefully we can address those questions while we're on live today. But we're going to be on here, I don't know, good half hour, 45 minutes or so. So come along for the ride.
Takes.
Yeah, as long as it takes. As long as it takes. All right. So who wants to start off?
Well, I think we should at least tell them what BOOST is.
Let's do that.
We could wait till the end.
Let's get going.
All right.
Let's tell them what it is.
Well, it's BOOST Small Business Accelerator, and what it does is it's created for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's about accelerating their success, whatever that success means for them, which could be they're wanting to launch a business or grow a business. Maybe they bought a business and they don't know what to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
or they launched but they didn't do very good planning and they're struggling. So it's all about helping local and the Quad City entrepreneurs and small businesses be successful.
That's right. Because, well, this was important to me. I wanted a program like this here in this, I wanted a program like this here in the Prescott area for myself when I moved here, and nothing like that really existed, at least not in the capacity that I needed. So I really wanted to bring in other people who understood that and create a program that could really address some of the issues that small business owners have here in this area. If this program existed when I was starting any of the businesses that I had, it would have been such a great thing. So this program is awesome, and we're going to tell you some of the details about how it works. And anyway, so I pulled in Pam and Josh because they're good.
Awesome.
They're good at a lot of things that I'm not good at. My business skills and knowledge only go so far. So I always find that hanging out with people who are smarter than me is always helpful.
In particular areas.
Yes.
So, Josh, where are you smart?
Well, I'm fairly decent with a computer, so I've been told. But, I got an entrepreneurship degree, and I think I learned like two things. But I come up with ideas, and as annoying as ideas people can be, I try not to be.
That's true. That's true. Let's see, where am I smart? So I have been a small business coach and consultant for a lot of years, and I moved up to Prescott about 7 years ago and opened up my business here. And so I was working with entrepreneurs and basically came up with a process that is basically what we do with BOOST, except we improved it a lot due to idea people. But what I was a little frustrated with is it was myself and the client. And so it was good. My process was as good as I and the client were, and maybe whoever they invited in.
Right.
And so when we started talking about it, there are a couple things that we added, but we added expert panelists. And we have, it's growing, like 7 or 8 expert panelists. And, maybe they're smart in financial or marketing or technology. And so they are part of helping this entrepreneur, this small business owner. They bring all that expertise to the table to help them with whatever their unique challenge is. And so to me, that made it, and they're local, but their experience, comes from all different parts of the country.
Right.
But they know how Prescott works. So to me, that made my process much stronger
Right.
For folks.
I know that, like, for me as an entrepreneurial type, a small business owner, I have a lot of skills, right? And with the way technology is, a lot of us can figure out how to do things ourselves, and a lot of us do get into business in that way. It's like, oh, well, I know how to do Facebook Live, or I know how to do some marketing, and I have certain skill sets as a coach, and so I can start a business. And a lot of people start up their businesses in that way, but then all of a sudden find themselves like, I didn't really do this part of my business well in the beginning that I should have done. And I don't really know quite what I'm doing in that area. So I would struggle along for months or years trying to figure it out. And it wasn't until I started realizing that collaborating with other people and asking people for help, paying people, like actually putting some money, some skin in the game, to get to these answers and solve all the problems I was having with my business so much faster, made a world of difference. So it's changed my life since I changed my attitude about I have to do it all myself.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall into that trap, because why would I spend money on anything when I could just sit down and do it?
Right.
But then, like for me, I would get buried under work, and I feel like I would have to do this huge, long list of things in order to get ready, and I would never start.
Right.
Whether it
It's
was
overwhelming.
a business idea or a new project.
Yeah, I think on one of our slides we say, are you ready to stop dreaming and start doing? Which is part of it. And there is some accountability. There's definitely some accountability in the process to make sure that you utilize, what you get from the process. What I find sometimes, I forget, Josh, maybe but the percentage of small businesses that fail, it's a scary number.
Yeah, I think it's close to 50%.
Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to do, is up the chances of success that you won't be part of that 50%. And it's interesting with the last two clients that we had, both of them, after going through the process, working with the expert panelist, changed their customer segments and the focus of their business greatly. Mm-hmm. And part of it was because the panelists also know the Quad City area, and they know what does and doesn't work.
So let's give our viewers, I guess, kind of some insight as to what happens in a boost session for a client.
We put them in a magic box, we wave our hands, we open it, and they're successful.
I wish. I wish
if only.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, so well, and there's two parts to this. So we'll talk about the two different parts. One is the boost panelists themselves, the experts that we bring in, that we put through a vetting process, because we really want people who are committed to this process.
And they're collaborative, and they know how to give feedback in a skillful way.
Right. And then there's the clients themselves, and what they go through, what their needs are, and then what they go through in the strategy sessions, and what they end up with, at the end.
Want me to talk about the client process?
Yeah.
So I'm the strategic facilitator for Boost, so I know the process fairly well. So you already talked about vetting. What's critical for us is to know if the client is ready to embark on the Boost process. We learned from our pilot that I didn't vet the first person well enough, and they had some things they weren't ready for, so we went free of charge and backed up and got them ready. And so now we have pre-Boost workshops that folks can do if they're not ready. Okay. And so the first thing they do once we say, okay, we're a good fit, there's the specific Boost process, but we also have customized it because every client has unique needs. But basically, we do a kickoff with the two expert panelists that have been chosen for the client. And also they can bring their own experts or invited guests, maybe not their dog, but pretty much anything else. And we do a kickoff, and we give a template to the client so that they can So it's easy for them to do a kickoff to get people familiar with their business idea or their current business and where they're struggling and how they need help. And they get to know and get comfortable with their expert panelist. Then we help them put their business model together. And I don't mean a business plan. It's called a business model canvas. But we really put their approach, their idea up visually where they can see it. And then we bring the panelists and guests in to do an analysis of it. It's not a Shark Tank, but we're really trying to look at what are their internal strengths and weaknesses, what are the external opportunities and threats, and really, what could they trip over and not be successful. Then they may work with me on goals and metrics if they don't have any, and then we bring the expert panelists back again, and then they say, okay, now we know what your approach is. We know even more what your challenges were. You'll probably find out you had far more challenges than you thought you did. And so now let's come up with strategies to address those challenges.
So in those sessions where you're bringing the panelists in, what I love about it is that it is a real, true working session. It's an intensive few hours that the clients and the panelists and the facilitator are in the room together. It's kind of like a war room. Yeah,
in a way.
Which is great. I mean, if you're into business strategy, you probably think this is a lot of fun.
And if you're not into business strategy, we still make it fun.
We do. But it's great. So what would one of those sessions look like?
Well,
since you've been a panelist.
Yes.
Having done it as a panelist twice, which is probably one of the most fun things I've done in the last year. It's like sitting down in a room and it's one big, fast brainstorm where we're, for example, doing strategies, coming up with ideas, throwing them up on the wall, getting clarification, but moving on fast so that we, have time to collect everything. And, there hasn't been one that didn't go right up to 3 hours.
Right.
I think once we had the end early, and the other time we went on for an extra hour.
Yeah, they asked, the client said, can we keep going? And the panelist said, yeah. I kind of wanted to go home and have a beer, but I'm like, sure, we'll keep going.
Yeah, and it was totally worth it for the client, but it was fun for me too.
Yeah, and I get to pop in every once in a while because I'm busy doing other things, but I really enjoy this process and seeing the answers that come up for when you're facing a problem and the solutions that come up, or the group of solutions, potential solutions that come up, and then just that brainstorming that happens. What other kind of problems can we come up with, if we go this direction? And I just love how everyone comes together on it and finds, this isn't working, or this wouldn't work. Like, this would take me down a road that I really don't want to go. It doesn't fit in with my values or my lifestyle. I really don't want to go this direction with my business.
Or it doesn't fit the market.
I mean,
you can have the passion, but if there isn't a need in the world for what you have, then you'll just be stuck with a lot of passion.
Right.
But not a lot of profit.
Yeah, at that point, you just have a hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and, this really became important to me, this whole idea of digging in this way. It's not like something you would find, at least that I know of, in an academic setting. This is, the accelerator part of this is because business owners do know how to do so many things themselves, and they're kind of more advanced than if they were to sign up for a business program in a college, that there's so much that they don't need, that they just need to cut to the chase, right?
That's a good point.
Here's what I need. Help me address this problem.
But if you know what you need, why not just watch videos on YouTube or grab a book?
That's a good question. You tell me, because as the entrepreneur student. As an entrepreneur, I need things to go quickly. I don't have time. Time is of the essence for me. I need to get in and work with people who can get to the problem, solve the problems quickly for me. I don't have that much time.
Well, you probably had something in mind when you asked the question, so share what you were going to say.
Yeah.
No, not in particular.
Okay.
I just
What my experience has been working with entrepreneurs, like some people launch way too fast and then really trip, and then they're like, Pam, help. Others take forever. They're like, okay, wait, I'm going to go to a seminar, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to pay this guru all this money, and they have all this stuff, but they still don't know what to do with it. And that's why, the process is put together so that they walk out with a very coherent, strategically focused, but then very detailed action plan. Here's what you go do. And then, this is also what I really like about what you all added to Boost, is, okay, now they got this plan, but they're busy, and maybe their business is already running, so they're trying to change the tires on their bus as the bus is moving.
Right.
So they join a Mastermind accountability group at Wingspace. And so they're with other like-minded entrepreneurs who are there to support each other and still give ideas. Maybe something they tried didn't work, so now what do? Well, the accountability group will help them with that. And they should share, what their plans are. So it's like, hey, did you get that done? That type of thing. So I think, especially when you're on your own, if you're a solopreneur or even a small business owner, because it's just you. You may have employees, but it's just you.
Yeah.
It can be really lonely. Yeah. And so, and it can be overwhelming, and, maybe you've got a family to support. You're like, what am I thinking? Maybe I should go back to the corporate world.
Yes.
And so in this thing, I feel like they have support in getting a plan, but then they have support afterwards to get her done.
To make it happen. You make such a good point, because it is a lonely endeavor to be an entrepreneur and to start a business, and you're the one that's working long before, if you do have employees or other staff, you're the one who's still there at the end of the day, and sometimes till midnight.
And you have challenges that, sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes it's useful to use your employees to pull them in and talk about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not appropriate. So who do you ask? And that's why I like those mastermind groups so much.
Yeah. Mastermind groups are great. So we call them co-boss mastermind groups, because it's great to be able to talk with other business-minded people who've been there, done that. I know what you're talking about. Here's how we solved the problem in our company. It's great to bounce these things off of other people. It's not so good to bounce these ideas off of your dog or your cat. It's not very
really smart.
It's not very useful. I know if you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about, because it's hard to turn it off. It's hard to turn it off when you're at home with your family members and you want to bounce something off of them, and they're sick and tired of hearing you talk about business and marketing stuff, and you're like, I have this business that I'm trying to run and I need help. So coming to a place like this and being part of a mastermind, you can do that here, leave it here, and go home and be with your family.
Yeah. And you can join a mastermind group at Wingspace, whether or not you go through the Boost process, but it is an integral part of the Boost process. Yeah. One thing I was thinking about when you were talking was, I was thinking about our two different clients, and people that are listening might say, well, gosh, do I need to have a master's in business to go through the Boost process, or am I going to be embarrassed to show how little I know about starting a business? And one, we create an environment so that doesn't happen. But if I think about Lorna, who is a seamstress and didn't have a business degree or background, but she had a big dream. And I remember at the end, she stood back and said, I feel like I now have a business degree, but I didn't spend 2 years and a whole bunch of money to do that. but yet it was applied to her dream,
Right.
to get going. And then I think about Anita, who I won't say too much more because she hasn't launched her business yet, but she came from a background working at a very famous hospital and starting up new programs, and already had her business plan put together. And her comment was, I got a return on my investment in Boost after the first 10 minutes.
I know.
I love that. The only thing is I wasn't in the room the first 10 minutes, so it's like, hey. But it's because she was just sharing with the expert panelist about her business idea. And just from the questions they asked her, we hadn't even gotten into the process, she knew that she was going to get benefit from it just from their introduction questions.
Right. Yeah, her experience was, well, both of them had such great experiences, and I can't wait to get them on sometime in an interview here, so that they can share what their experiences was like.
When Lorna already contacted me and said, Pam, thank you. And also everyone tries to help. It's not our job to, but we try to get them referrals, introduce them to people in Prescott. I mean, we're invested now in what they're up to.
Yeah.
And she's like, Pam, all three of the referrals you gave me to the ballet company, to Dancing for the Stars, and I forget what the third one is. She goes, I have clients in all three.
Right. So one of the things I want to talk about as well, I mean, because these two clients that went through Boost were really just in a startup mode. But I want to talk about how this can benefit someone who's maybe purchased a business and got in over their head right away. Like, how can this help them? I've seen businesses here. I've seen people do that. They've taken over a business, and they actually they came from a different industry. Like, they bought into a business that they didn't really have the background.
Or maybe they were a technician doing the technical work in that industry, and they got tired of working for the man.
Right.
And they
took it over.
Started their own business, but they don't have any background in starting it.
Right. And what I like about pulling in the experts, because we have a variety of different types of panelists that have background in all these different areas. They've been, business owners who've started things up. They've been business owners or they've gone into businesses and helped them
because they have
make adjustments,
marketing background, finance background.
And so I love being able to match the clients up with the right panelists for the specific problems that they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And so I see that as, a huge benefit for someone who's already got a business running, already purchased a business, and oh my God, what have I done? Would love to be able to help people like that.
And I have two examples of that. It was prior to being part of Boost, but it was using the same process. I had a gentleman that purchased an insurance agency, and he didn't know a lot about insurance, but he was really savvy as a business person. But he just said, Pam, I have all these thoughts and ideas, but I can just never find the time to strategize, pull them all together, and put it into a plan.
Right.
So he was just thrilled to have it help him organize and think through. I had a different gentleman that had a heating and cooling business. He'd been a technician in heating and cooling, and so he was tired of it. He didn't like the upselling, so he said, okay, I'm going to start my own business, but didn't have any background in it. And invoices weren't getting out, and referrals weren't happening, and there was just, and his wife got a hold of him and said, listen, you got to go meet Pam, and you got to go through this process. And so when I met him, he said, I have a high school background, and I really don't know what all this is, and I'll be honest with you, I'm really not looking forward to it. And when we took him and used the business model canvas, I said, well, we're going to talk about your business approach. He goes, I don't have one. I said, sure you do. And we used the business model canvas. We got it all up there. And he just looked back and he said, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I have an approach, but I don't know what I'm doing there. And I said, okay, then we'll focus there. So it can help it. People come with unique needs and challenges and different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to start.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
So I want to go back to those pre-boost workshops.
Okay.
We've had some ideas on what we want to teach, like beginning finance and some other things. So among those, what are we looking forward to in terms of 2020 for Boost?
As far as workshops and other things?
Yeah. So marketing is a huge one. For I think everybody, every business is challenged with wanting to know how to market in today's world, how to reach clients, especially if it's on a local level. How do you do that without going broke? Because marketing can be very expensive, depending on which avenues you go down. And is it right? What's the right marketing way to go for your specific business? So that's one. Marketing we talked about. You talked about finance stuff. We also talked about the hit by a bus plan.
Oh, yeah.
Which is something that I happen to be working on right now for my business, because I've just reached that point where I've got systems and processes, that I have in place now. Now it's like, now I know how my business operates, but if something happens to me, nobody else is going to know how to step in and take care of things for me while I'm either on the mend someplace, if I got hit by a bus. Yeah, I did not get hit by a bus, but if something took me out and I needed someone to step in for a while for me, I don't want to lose my business over that,
There's another one where I don't know what we're going to name it yet, but a lot of people go into business and they don't know how to talk about their business, and it's Simon Sinek's, the big why. And they haven't really thought through, their mission, meaning what exactly are their services and who are their customers. And they say, well, I just do everything and I do it for everyone. And I'm like, okay, well, that means you need 20 different marketing plans and 20 different business plans. And it's like, so if they're kind of like, hey, I'm just going to be everything to everybody, then we say, well, let's back up a little bit. And so we have some workshops to help them get really focused on what would best utilize their competencies, where there's a fit in the Quad City area for needing that.
Right.
And allow them also to find a way that they can, when they're networking, talk about their business in a way that people will listen and understand, versus saying, I have a heating and cooling business. Call me.
Right. Well, let's take Lorna, for example. When she showed up and she thought, okay, I'm a seamstress and I want to do custom design, custom costumes. And then when we got into, what did we narrow it down to? Finally, 3 different segments. And
then eventually down to 1, although she's gone into the second one, which I think is appropriate.
But as we got into, okay, this particular market, how do you find them? How do you reach them? And when we dug into what it would take to do that versus what would it take to reach this particular type of client or this particular type, suddenly the overwhelm hit her like, oh my gosh, it would take 3 times the work to reach all 3 of those segments.
And I'm really uncomfortable with that one, because I'm not comfortable with technology.
Exactly, because one required more technology. And so it really helped her narrow down what it would take. Because what I think would happen with someone was they would say, okay, I want to reach all of these people. And then they would, go about their business trying to reach people and not really reaching them in the right way. And then feel like either they've failed, it's not working, they can't figure out why. There's all these problems that come up. And this saved her so much money, so much time, by saying, that is not the market I want to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, she might have just given up early and actually not, reached her potential, because she just basically was going towards a customer segment that didn't have as high a need. She didn't know how to reach, and she would have tried to reach in a way that wouldn't have worked.
Correct. So I love how this saves people and helps people narrow down. People don't understand the importance of narrowing down your niche and how it really keeps you in alignment with, what you really got into this in the first place for, and the lifestyle that you want to live, because you don't want to be working 24/7.
One thing, obviously, we're hoping to have more and more clients. But we also, although we have a pretty good list of expert panelists, but it's still good to have a larger list because maybe, that person you really wanted is on vacation that month or something like that. So I think for those who might be listening and thinking, oh, I'd like to be an expert panelist. I'd like to, be a part of this collaboration. I'm curious, Josh, what was it, what did you think of as being a panelist, and what have you heard other panelists say about being a part of Boost?
Well, aside from it being incredibly fun, other panelists have told me that they've worked a long time and they have all this experience and they just want to give back. And this is a way for them to do it. Like, yeah, they're getting paid, but some of them are like, I don't need the money. Thank you for paying me, though. But, this is something I do for free because I love the community and I love helping people.
And I like the last Boost that we did. The two expert panelists loved working together. They were very different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, when do we do the next Boost? I'm like, get us some more clients, right? But they've been out talking about it. In fact, since then, I think 3 people that have contacted us to be panelists, my guess is they probably talked with the 2 of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love, I want to kind of go off topic just a little bit. I love this because the panelists are interested in having a successful local economy, successful businesses. When 2008 hit and so many businesses closed their doors, but so many kept their doors open, they knew how to survive a recession. And to me, this is a way to recession-proof your business, is really understanding how to have a successful business and how to recession-proof it. So,
actually, in our last Boost process, the gentleman from Emory-Riddle that was the expert panelist, he talked a lot about, he said, okay, this will recession-proof you, this won't. And that's really what flipped her on her customer segment.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She changed her customer segment completely.
Mm-hmm. She's going to change the name of her business because of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So these are important factors that a lot of people, forget about. So,
what are you looking forward to, Pam, coming up here in the next few months for Boost?
I'm looking forward to, we've done 2 businesses that launched, and I love doing that. But I'm looking forward to all the different types of challenges that entrepreneurs and small businesses have, and because the variety of that is exciting to me. I love, even though I'm the facilitator, I love the creativity of strategic minds looking to see how they can solve a particular problem. So that makes it, every single one's different, and that makes it exciting for me to be a part of that fun yet analytic brainstorming process.
Mm-hmm. Melanie, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to getting the pre-Boost classes lined up and finding other people who, are struggling and getting them into some of these classes. If they're not quite ready to actually go through Boost themselves at this point, that's okay. We'll get you into some of these classes and address some of the issues that you're having. But I'm really excited about getting some more clients going through this and seeing how this really just turns their business around.
It does. Yeah. It feels good. Question for the workshop, is that just for people that think they might want to go through Boost, or is it open, like if a particular entrepreneur wanted to, or small business owner wanted to go to a workshop, they may not ever go through Boost. Is it open to?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's going to be good about these classes is they're really designed for that small business entrepreneurial type of individual who just really they want to get in and get straight to the problem, straight to the point of things, and be around other people who are working on similar things.
So where should people go if they want to learn more about Boost, whether as a panelist or if they're interested in taking it?
Yeah, so they can go to boostprescott.com and they'll find a lot of information on the website, and they can always come in here to Wingspace and check out the community. We'll spend time talking to you. But if you're interested as a panelist, you can also go there, check out how the program works, and then we'll connect you with Pam, who will take you through a vetting process and answer all your questions, basically.
Yeah, because we just, in both cases, whether it's a client or panelist, we want it to be a really good fit, and we want it to be a good investment of their dollars or a good investment of their time, because, you've been hitting that again and again, that, what they don't feel like they have is a lot of time.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else before we're done?
I don't know. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, not for me.
Well, then that's that.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Come on by.
Oh, my head's going like this.